Welcome to Which Side Do You Want, where we talk all things tennis. I'm your co-host, Ruffin Thornton, and I'll be joined by my good friend, James Skinner.
Unlike most tennis podcasts, we cover hot topics, from the lawns to the concrete, from the pros to the park, and all things in between. Welcome to Which Side Do You Want?
All right, welcome back, tennis and racket sport fans. As James and I return to you right after the Australian Open. So what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Ruffin. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good.
Yes, sir. Tennis season is off to a thrilling start.
Thrilling start, you know. The big news, we have a new champion in the Australian Open on the women's side. And, of course, we have arguably return of the GOAT.
That's right.
Based on our metrics from previous episodes.
He is the GOAT. Yeah, and he is the Rafa of Australian Open. He's racking them up. 10 titles now?
10 titles now.
Amazing.
And he's the Roger of Wimbledon.
That's right.
I got to throw my Roger
I'm telling you,
out there.
The joke is doing it.
Yeah, so let's just get to it. First of all, how's today is a good day. Nice weather here in Virginia. What did you do with the team today?
Well, it's still conditioning.
Okay.
So we're still conditioning. February we'll get out on the courts, hitting more and doing drills and looking to see getting that stroke production up.
Okay, cool.
But, so we're just getting ready for that. It's gonna be a long, tough season, and want them to be physically fit and ready to go.
Ready to go. I guess the more fit you are, the less you have to worry about. Other things that can get in your mind and get in your head about.
That's true. We're gonna do plenty of match play, but I want them ready to do it.
Well, good. Yeah. And on my side, I ended up this past weekend. I ended up teaching for the first time since before the pandemic. And
wow.
My student looks very promising.
Good,
so
good, man.
Hopefully, we'll continue to work out there and get out there. Although we're scheduled to come up this Saturday. It looks like the weather is not going to be as warm as we'd anticipated.
Yeah,
we'll get out there and we'll make it work.
There you go. There you go. But that's part of it too. You know, dealing with the weather and braving the
conditions. As long as it's not raining, we're gonna have to bring some gloves and just get to
Make
it.
it work. Oh yeah, once you start moving around, you'll warm up. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's a little different when it's one-on-one. So,
right.
We might have to invite some friends out there.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I said, let's get straight to it. It's the Australian Open.
Man.
The Australian Open, usually the beginning of the season, is where we get the excitement back. So I'm gonna leave it to you to start us off. We have new women's and men's champions. So which side do you want to start us off with?
Well, we can go with the men today, and we'll just kind of bounce back off each other on this one. But you're right. We have the singles champion, of course, Novak Djokovic,
right?
And we said that he was going to make a statement, and a statement he did make. He didn't drop a set. Did he?
Yeah, he did. He dropped one set.
Yeah, one set. But for the most part, it was straight set encounter.
Amazing.
Even in the finals, it was a straight set. Even though Tsitsipas, he tried to fight him. I mean, he tried. I would give him credit. He his serve was on, but Djokovic just had the edge. It's like it's almost. He was that wall.
Yeah,
and
back to his dominant days as number one player, and of course, he got a chance to jump back to number one from number what was it, 5 or 6?
Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah. He surely. I think throughout the fortnight, he proved that he was the best player out there. And we talked about that last podcast. We said that he is the prohibitive favorite. I mean, he's always there. And you can't, if he's in the tournament, then he is a factor. And if he is healthy, and even though he wasn't 100%, he had this abdominal pull, but for him.
No, I think it was a hamstring.
It was a hamstring. That's right. Yeah. Hamstring. I knew it was something in he was nagging him, but he can work through it. Yeah. And he's in phenomenal shape. And I think he had that chip on his shoulder because they kept him out last year, even though I don't know why we have a chip. We won't even go there. But still, I think he wanted to make a point that, and he did it, and he won. And
speaking of points,
Australian Open champion again.
He played an Australian player, in the what was it, 4th round.
Yeah.
And that player was a little vocal.
Yes.
We'll just say Alex Demonar.
Demonar. Yeah.
And like you said, Novak he wanted to make a point. So he took him out to the woodshed.
Yeah, he did.
2-1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. He pretty much he was hoping for that triple bagel.
Oh, yeah. He tried to he definitely wanted to make a statement. And the thing is, I still, and I understand he feels like, he was the champion and he's represented. But once again, I mean, you're going to fault the government for doing what they felt they had to do to keep the people safe. Is one person, the risk of one player, even if he's the greatest player, is it worth it?
No.
I don't know. I mean, those are things, I don't think so. And so I think he needs to understand that they did what they had to do. Yeah. He did what he had to do. Sure. He could have gotten a shot and played. He didn't. So, I mean, now all that's different now. It's a whole year after, and so I'm just saying, understand that they did what they felt they had to do. It wasn't a slight against you personally. No. You were just one who refused to do what every other player did that came over to play.
Right. And again, some of those players that were vocal about, not giving preferential treatment to players that had a bigger stature than the rest of them, they should have been able to speak out. But like I said, at the end of the day, Novak, regardless of how you felt about him, was going to say, "I'm still the man," and
he is the man,
and he is the man.
Yeah, he proved that. He proved definitely on the court. He is the man.
Yeah. And like you said, that was one of our predictions. We thought the obvious, but we had our dark horses too.
Sure, dark horses.
But at the end of the day, the dark horse was not going to overshadow Mr. Novak.
No,
so
he wanted to have this one.
Yeah,
and he got it.
And he got it.
And now he is set himself up nice for the next Grand Slam and for the early part of the tennis season.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he takes. Of course, he's going to take a couple of days or weeks off before the next tournament that he plays, and you've got the American hard courts,
right?
Leading up to, and then the change to the clay courts, and then
going to Europe.
Of course, got to go to Europe, and then you've got all of those tournaments leading up to the French, and then the quick turnaround to the Wimbledon, and then ultimately during the summer season, the the U.S. Open.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. The one thing that we can hope will come back to maybe be a cog to his dominance, if that's the case, this year would be the return of
Alcaraz.
Yeah. Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah. And, I feel like, to me, this may be his coming out year. It's going to be amazing to see what he does at the French.
Yeah.
And now, once again, we cannot forget who looms. And Rafa Nadal is still looming.
True.
And if he can stay healthy, he is going to be a factor.
No matter what.
Oh yeah, he's still, to me, until someone's beaten him consistently on the red clay. He's still, to me, the preeminent clay court player. He is the best I've ever seen, and I think he's still the best. As long as he's healthy.
Right.
I don't think anybody's going to come on the court if he is feeling 75% or better. You're in a battle that you're going to have to bring everything.
Yeah.
And so we shall see. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm just thinking about how the draw is going to work out. And if Alcaraz plays him, I'm hoping it would be in the second week, and I'm sure it will be, second week of the tournament. That's going to be major, man. That's going to be major.
Yeah. I agree. But we'll see. First
we
of all,
shall see. He's got to get
Nadal's got to get there. Because he's got that hip ailment.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That's probably 8 weeks from here to see if Rafa is even capable of playing in the French, because he has missed it in the past because of injury.
Yeah.
So, but
just another note to just my congratulations also to the last American left, Tommy Paul, left in there fighting, and he went up against the Joker, and well, hey, it was his first time getting that far, getting to a Grand Slam, a semifinals, which I think was a major achievement for him. That's the type of thing that could change your career. And this young man, he's always he was always a top junior tennis player. Many people thought he was probably the most talented of that junior crop that came up with, with Taylor Fritz and that crew. And he was, as talented, if not the most talented one of all. And he is. I mean, if you watch this guy play, he is a phenomenal tennis player, great athlete too. And it's just good to see him starting to put things together. Like to see him hopefully do more of this. And the work and training. He's got good people behind him and putting it together. So it was good to see him get that far, and hope to see even more. That was a great match against him and Ben Shelton. I thought,
that was a good match.
They went at each other. Two Americans young, and that's the future.
Yeah, Ben Shelton definitely surprised a couple people with his results. You think about it, he had a relatively easy draw to that point to where he played Tommy, but his game, his aggressive game, that college game, kind of can throw traditional players off because he's there,
and he's a lefty,
that
big that big serve.
He's got that advantage.
Yeah. So
very athletic, very in your face kind of tennis.
Definitely. And it doesn't seem like he's afraid of the fight.
No, absolutely.
So and he's one of those young guns.
Right. Yeah. We keep talking about those young guns that are just allowing their game to speak volumes, and they're taking names and chewing bubblegum. So anyway,
there you
go. But yeah, the future seemed real bright early on. ESPN had the note that at the second round, the most American men since the early 2000s had made the second round, which was great.
Never seen that many American flags going into the second and third round, and then going into the second week, we still had some.
Had several,
great, which is great, and spurs the interest of the game here.
Yeah, that's what we need here in the States. So.
Definitely, definitely.
But I'm glad that our American men did well. But ultimately, like we said, it was Novak's day.
It was Novak's day. It was Novak's tournament.
Yeah.
He just head and shoulders over everybody else. And and it's going to be like the way he played in Australia, and he customarily, comes because he's in such great shape. But when Australia rolls around, he's usually ready to go.
Yeah.
And this was his first Grand Slam title. And, who knows, he may have a few more in his pocket before it's all over. And the thing is now, will he be able to get another Grand Slam title this year? Thus solidifying him as the GOAT.
As the GOAT. When he takes over the lead over Nadal, who right now they're tied at 22.
Wow, yeah.
But Nadal is still out there looming, but we already see the writings on the wall.
Yeah.
And Novak's still going strong, and there doesn't seem to be any less hunger from him. In fact, he wants to separate himself to be known as the GOAT. But unfortunately, he'll never be beloved like some of the other players. But we're not going to talk about that. We're here to talk about
we'll wrap up the Australian. We'll save that.
We can save that a little bit later and see what happens
in the basket
as the rest of the season turns out.
Yes.
So,
but the men, like we said, I think we both talked about this last time. We felt that somebody would be. We predicted that someone who would be a first-time finalist, and of course, Tsitsipas is first-time Grand Slam finalist. Even though he's been around, he's been there. He's not like a new face, but still, we had him going against the many-time Grand Slam finalist and champion, and so that was a good. Tsitsipas now gets to see what is it going to take for me to get over the hump.
Right.
He had some good victories, some good wins. He had some tough wins. He got a lot of 5-setters, man. He had some, and whereas Djokovic did not. And so maybe he needs to go back to his coaches and talk about, hey man, how can I cut down some of these, because he was 4 or 5 sets all the way through, man. I mean, it was like either he was playing a 5-setter or 4-setter. He had the 5-set against Sinner.
Yeah.
He had a 4-set against Kachanov.
Yeah.
He had, and so it's even though he's a young man, it still takes a lot out you. And remember, this is 2 weeks of this.
Right.
And, he's still practicing and doing everything else. So I don't know, if you want to incorporate that as part of the strategy, but if you look at what, Djokovic did, well, sure, just win 3 sets instead of 5, which.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Again,
and I'm being facetious when I say that, people, because that's extremely hard to do. It's difficult, but I just said, that's, if he wants to think about what is it going to take for me to win these matches.
Right.
You got to come in that game fresh, man. You got to,
And again,
fresher than your opponent.
Straight sets is where you want to take your opponent out and get to the next round.
That's right.
Again, 7 matches is tough over 2 weeks, and it's taxing.
Yeah, and the Joker, he went through Tommy Paul like water, and then TJ Potts is still out there banging, struggling, so.
But again, he being the higher seed and the luck of the draw sometimes.
Right. That's true. That has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah,
I agree.
Let's keep it moving. Let's,
All right.
So on the women's side, so I'll pick it up here with the women's. We're going to tip our hat off to
definitely
our brand new.
I know it. Oh man,
first Grand Slam titleist.
Yep,
and that is our
Sabalenka.
Yeah, Ariana Sabalenka.
Ariana Sabalenka,
who took out a second Grand Slam finalist in Elena Rybakina. So yeah, she won her first Grand Slam, and she really wanted that title.
Oh yeah,
she's got a lot of lofty tennis aspirations, and she has a game for it.
She does.
And again, when you have that hunger and when you have that that certain level of talent, she's got the big serve, big forehand, big aggressive game. Always pushing your opponent. She finally crossed that hump.
She got over the hump.
Yeah. Losing the first set 6-3, and then battling
coming back. 3 and 4.
6-4, 7-5. So no,
3 and it was 6 3 6 6-3 6-4.
Right. So that she looked like she was well deserving of the title.
Oh yeah.
And getting back to our predictions, those were Sabalenka was one of the few players left in the draw that probably had a real chance of getting. And like you said, we predicted that on the women's side, there probably was going to be a new Grand Slam champion. And of course, that's what we got.
That's what we got. Yeah.
We were hoping that we could have seen another American, Jessica Pegula.
Yeah, we was hoping Jessie would get in there.
But she ran into a buzzsaw in Azarenka.
Didn't she?
And I did not see that, considering that Vika has been playing well, but she's not Vika where she was number 1.
Right.
And I thought Jessica could have had a really good opportunity to win that match.
Exactly.
But Vika said, nope, not this time.
Not this time. But and it's so funny. I felt that that Pegula, I think Pegula would have had a better match against Rybakina.
Yeah.
Even though Azarenka, she battled, but Rybakina just had too much weighted shot. And to me, Pegula, that's her game is accustomed to handling those blows. You know, she can handle those big shots and stay in there long enough. They probably have gotten into Rybakina's head, a little bit to kind of swing things around for her. But we'll never know.
Right.
But Azarenka played well, man. This was a great tournament for her, great result. She is should be looking bright for for this year for her. This is a good thing for her.
Oh, sure.
For her confidence and moving on, because she's a great talent.
Getting there. And to tell you the truth, Rybakina probably was that dark horse that we didn't see coming, just like when she won her Wimbledon championship.
Yeah. But remember, it was kind of like what we said last time. It was eerily like that Wimbledon, the way she was running through opponents and people didn't see her coming or weren't really expecting her to do well, and all of a sudden there she is in the finals. Exactly. exactly.
But
and was a set away from having a second Grand Slam title.
Yeah, you're
right. I hope she doesn't disappear again on us. Like after Wimbledon last year. But it's tough. I don't make it like she should have. It is very difficult for you to win consistently at this level.
Yeah.
And the majority of players at this level don't win all the time. You lose more than you win.
Yeah.
Most of them. And so that is a part of it. It is the toughest game in town. The toughest thing to do is to keep your ranking up. And so my hat's off to her. She got won a Wimbledon title, and now she's got
a finals in Australia. Yeah.
How many players can say that?
Yeah. I mean, got to take them where you can.
Take them where you can.
And she's young too, so she's 20 years old. She it's just starting her career. She can hopefully win as many as she can in the next few years.
Her features really bright.
But she's gonna have a tough draw because Iga's not going anywhere.
No,
Sabalenka's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Some of the other young players like we said, on the American side, Coco Gauff still looming. Jessica's hitting her stride now, and we're not even talking about some of the other players. Ons Jabeur, Sakari, Belinda Bencic is coming back. She's back in the mix.
Badosa, you got
Kudermetova,
Garcia.
So it's going to be an exciting time to be watching women's tennis without Serena. And we don't really need to worry about her anyway. So she's going on to better things, as she said. But you never know; she may
decide to play. And like I said before, if she wants to, go for it.
Sure,
she's earned the privilege and right because she is who she is.
Yeah,
and so but that's and it's good you mentioned that about the women's game, because that's one of the things about tennis that makes tennis. It's where we embrace the women's game as much, even if not more, than the men's game, because it is just it's an exciting game, and these women are playing, and they are amazing to watch, and that's what kind of I was watching a lot of them perform, and they are really. I mean, they're out there giving it their all. They're out there slugging and slinging, and I'm happy to see that. Want to see more of that. Like to see more of that and inspire more girls to want to get out there and pick up a racket and get out there and play. Yeah,
I agree with that. So let's talk about some of the other main finalists.
Okay.
In the men's doubles, we had. Now this is a name. I did not know this player or these players from on the men's side.
You talking about the Australian
doubles?
Yeah, Hijikata,
Rinky Hijikata, and Jason Kubik. They came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like they were hiding in a tree and jumping on.
But now, I mean, Australian doubles. Now they're back-to-back champions,
right?
Because last year it was
Kyrgios and his boy Kokonauis.
Yeah.
Kokonauis,
and Kokonakis. And so now they got champions again,
right?
And the thing is, historically, Australians, that's what they've
always been.
They're great doubles players, man,
right?
From back in the day. So this was good for the people, the Australians to cheer on their own countrymen, and they play well,
right? Yeah,
straight set win, man.
But again, they just came out of nowhere, both unseeded.
Wild cards. They were wild cards.
Yeah, so you can imagine how happy they must be to win.
They must have given that Australian official a bonus who gave them that wild card.
I know.
And said, "Here you go, mate.
Right,
you helped us out on this one.
A little bit more than a Vegemite."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that was good. It was great. And win for them.
I mean,
and great for the country.
Yeah, like I said, they came out of nowhere to win straight sets.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
took out some really good, accomplished,
some good players,
doubles players, because they took out Skupski and in the semis.
Yep, and probably number one. They won number one.
They were the number one seeds and took them out in the semis. And relatively easy score. So that's when you know this is a team that I would like to see how they do going forward. But still,
you don't have the whole stadium on your side. And they played this team, the Polish team, Hinais and Zelensky,
and to win the championship. Yeah.
And they had another one. I really didn't know a lot about them either. And they came out, they were unseeded, and they came out and beat some good teams and got to the final. So that's good. Big up for them because they've earned a paycheck, man.
Yeah.
You get to a Grand Slam finals, and like we talked about this before, that means so much to a young career.
Yeah.
And you're trying to keep it going and stay on the tour, and this just will give you such a big boost. And hopefully,
I absolutely
keep them out there. Yeah,
but not so much on the women's side. Women's.
Oh, women.
There were no surprises except for who they played.
Right.
So we want to again tip our hats to the champions of Barbora Krejcikova and Katerina Siniakova.
They are a great double.
They are definitely a tough number one doubles team.
Tough to bring down.
I mean, and Siniakova is trying her best to get back at it on the singles side. She lost the first round to Coco Gauff,
right?
But she made up for it by getting back to the finals in the Australian Open. So they took out the Japanese team of
who upset Gauff and Pegula
in the semis. I can't even pronounce that. Oyama
and Shibahara. Yeah, Shibahara. And they played well,
right?
They're good. They're a good doubles team. I've watched them play in the past, and they play well together. And they were tough out. But they were playing out of their minds against Gauff and Pegula.
Yeah, I mean,
they were hitting some winners. Man, I was like, "Are you kidding?" They were just going for it, blasting. And I think it happens. That's tennis, man. That will happen. You get in a rhythm and you just ride it on out.
And on that day, you said, whoever is hot, the hot hand won, and
they would,
kind of surprised the Americans.
They were hitting some winners, they were hitting some shots, and they just kept Gauff and Pegula on the edge. Man, they just couldn't get into their flow like they wanted to.
Right.
So when but they made it tough. They fought, man, to the end. That thing went, and it was tough, but they pulled it out in the end.
In that tiebreaker,
Now I'm just. If we're done, I want to just jump over to all the people to talk about the mixed doubles and the big surprise in the mixed doubles. Pleasant surprise. Well, of course, the mixed doubles champion were the Indian pair of Bopana and Sonia Mirza. Who Sonia Mirza, if y'all don't know, both and Bopana, they're veteran tennis players and. Sonia Mirza, I remember when she came on as a young teenager from India, and she had a bright future, and she did well. She had
both singles and doubles.
Yeah, she had some injuries and things, and then she went out of the game for a while, and then came back and became a mom. She's a mother now, and but it's good to see her, and it was good to see the two of them make it to the finals of the mixed doubles.
Yeah,
now, of course, they ran into the Brazilian pair, who also. Stefani and Matos, who also we tip our hats to them as well, because I mean, nobody really knew a whole lot about them. We knew about in Matos, somewhat, but they came in and they had a run, and they followed that run all the way to the championship and won. And they're Australian Open mixed doubles champions, and so it's great. I'm trying to think. Last time Brazil had a champion was since Guga.
Wow. Yeah. That's Guga. Been quite a while. That's at least 20 years that you're talking about.
Yeah. But it was good.
Guga.
Good to see them and expand the game that way. It was great. And to have, India playing Brazil.
Right.
That was really, I thought that was cool.
And it was a bit of a send-off for Sonia. I believe she announced her retirement from the tournament.
Yep.
From the tour, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she's going to, I guess she wants to be mom and move on into the next phase of her life.
Well, I mean, but she's already got she's a rock star in
India. In India. So, no doubt.
You got a lot of people over there that know who she is and love and adore her down there. And she's represented India for a long time, both on her own and as well as for her home country in team competitions and whatnot. So,
and it was always good to see her, because we just didn't have a whole lot of Indian women who make it up to that top level, and she was there for a while. They've had men up there, especially in the doubles. And we had, but to have a woman up there, I think it meant a lot to the country of India, to the young women who play tennis there, and hopefully that will inspire them so we can see some more young Indian girls getting into the game and playing. I'm sure that there are a few out there in the junior ranks now that I'm sure that they're working with. And you think about countries like India, it's so densely populated, man. You got so many people. If they get a program structured there, you got a whole lot of kids.
A lot of kids
that you could put out there. And
now, tennis may not be the number one sport in India. I think it's cricket or soccer.
Yeah, cricket,
but
soccer.
Certainly, if
and,
India
and also field hockey is big over there. Yeah. But still, tennis will find to get it in there, and hopefully we'll see more players from, especially female players from that country emerge. It would be great for the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much does it for our Australian wrap up.
Yeah, but I'm going to jump on two things before we. Now we talked earlier about the United Cup.
Right.
Now I just want to ask you, pro or con? Did the format? And if you.
So before the Australian Open, we had the United Cup, and it was an exciting team competition that included both men and women. I like that fact.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, it was spread over the country of Australia.
Yes.
So in 3 main cities, and then from the finals, they came from those 3 cities to play, I think, in Perth.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say pro because number one, it got, as a lead up to the Australian Open, a little bit better than the Whiteman Cup. You had a much bigger player pool.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You
mean the Hopman Cup?
I'm sorry, Hopman Cup,
right?
The Whiteman Cup.
Yeah.
Hopman Cup. Plus, with the Hopman Cup being in usually just one city, you had now more so than anything, you had more tennis to spread around. Again, 18 countries were represented, and it wasn't just your top player and men and women.
Right.
It was top teams of players.
Right.
And when you introduce the mixed doubles as a team, man, and over the course of 2 days, I really like the whole format. First round beat 2 out of 3 and then move on to the next round. I really, really liked it. Because it favored the eventual champion in the United States because we've got a much deeper player of both men and women. So just if you had a strong men's side but a weak women's side, or vice versa, strong women but weak men, scratch that. The
United Cup.
The United Cup had such a better format, more so than anything. And I just wish I could have seen a lot more of the matches live because that was before. Now, the con on my end would be the fact that it was just right before the Australian Open. Okay. And this year's Australian Open seemed to be pushed up a couple of weeks. So didn't give a lot of players a lot of time. We talked about that last time where, the off season for professional tennis players is not really long.
Right.
So I didn't like the fact that players really didn't have that off season. And again, you're jumping into something that is very foreign, very new, exciting, but in the same vein, it was different.
Yeah.
But overall, I like the idea of the United Cup, and hopefully this, it kind of sounds like something that Roger would have put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Europe versus the world. I hope it sees a lot of success going forward because again, just 18 countries. It almost feels like the Olympics, which is always very, very exciting. Yep. So that's my pro and con for it.
Okay.
What about yours?
I agree with you on several things. My con, and also I enjoyed the format. I enjoyed the expanded format than as opposed to Hopman Cup, which would just have one man and one woman playing.
Right.
I like the fact that it expanded it. Now, the format, and you had more countries playing, and I like the idea that they played it all over Australia and they come in. That was kind of cool. My only downside was that I'm hoping that they look at it and maybe shave some of the teams off, or maybe have. It was a lot of teams in there, and some of the teams. And you brought up the point, which I think is valid, is that we benefited from the fact that we had a lot of depth.
Right.
Some of those countries didn't have the depth.
No.
Some of them didn't have, and you had a situation where England, they won their round. They won so early.
Right.
And all the matches they were playing with a bunch of dead rubbish. They didn't mean anything because they'd already solidified their space. And I think it's because they ran through lesser competition. What I would like to see is, well, now we're getting into Davis Cup kind of thing. I was getting ready to say maybe have a qualifying event for those other countries.
And actually, I think that was what the promoters were thinking about.
Yeah. And that the countries that can qualify can then be invited to come. But they invited everybody on this one. And it was just, you had some countries that, y'all not ready yet.
Yeah.
And it just, but it's still an exciting format. I like the fact that it mixed men and women, intrusively. Like you had the mixed doubles, and which I'm hoping that, because you want the mixed doubles to be the culminating, because you have the men and the women playing together. And that's a good way to make that culminating match that could decide, or and I think that would be great. And so I'm hoping they will do some things to refine a little bit, maybe shave it down a little bit.
Yeah,
I have not so many countries playing, and I don't. It's not that I don't want the participation. It's great to have, but some of them, it's we have you have a country that has the top players, in it, and you have like 2 or 3, then they have an advantage,
Yeah.
Now, some people would say, well, wouldn't you want to see those upsets? Maybe those countries, you never know, you get somebody can, and that adds excitement to it. But how often is that going to happen?
Not in this format. I don't see it happening because, again, like I said, the depth of the American team, both on the men's and women's side, at this point in time, was to our advantage. That's why we could, our number 1 and number 2 players were in there were no players 20. That on both men's and women's that were in the United Cup that had this kind of depth. I mean, we had our 3rd seeded women's player still be in the top 20.
And we still didn't even have our best women's players in there. I mean, we, golf
certainly not our best mixed doubles
team.
Certainly, and we could have put even a greater barn burner than that. So
but I overall I would give it a B++.
Yeah.
I think it's a winner. I think they refine a little bit more. It'll be really exciting, I think.
I at the end of the day, I wish it nothing more than success.
Yes.
Because the more tennis that we see, the better. And again, if it's the one thing about, we're only a year away from the Summer Olympics of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be held in Europe and France, right?
In France, Paris.
So, we won't see this kind of excitement outside of the Olympics until this time next year. So anytime we can get that national backing is always good, I don't know if you've been watching any of the 30 for 30s on ESPN or some of the Netflix things like the Redeem Team and the Dream Team. But, you see the excitement. You get wrapped up in that national, what do you want to call it? Not camaraderie, but patriotism.
Yes.
So, and you see that with these team competitions where it's us against the world kind of feel. So,
and that's always good. It's just an extra, thing, and that's what makes the Laver Cup so exciting.
Absolutely,
and some the must-watch event now
on television. So that's about it for now. We've got a long season coming up,
and it's going to be a great season.
Yeah,
I'm just super stoked about tennis coming up. We got these young, fresh faces coming out. They're hungry. We got some old veterans who are going down. They're going to die hard. They're going down with a fight. And man, I'm just really stoked, man. I'm excited about this tennis season. Can't wait to see what happens. And, also another thing too, the emergence of these college tennis players, man.
Yeah.
It's like that's now it's becoming, this is a means to getting into the pros now. Before they used to shun collegiate players.
And now
they can. They kicking the door open.
If they can show that they can handle the rigors of NCAA Division I, Division II tennis at the top highest level, especially when you get to those national tournaments, to those invitationals where you got a big field, 164 players, teams to play against, then that means you're pretty much ready for the rigors of the ATP or WTA tour. So,
without a doubt.
We've had success. We've seen that not only with the likes of Cam Norrie, Ben Shelton, Danielle Collins, and a few others on the women's side. Cressy, Maxim Cressy,
and Mackie McDonald, and all these. There are a lot of men that are coming in who, but that's exciting to see too. That's something else they're popping in there, and hopefully get to see more than the women's side. Collins and a few other players. Primarily American, but you got some European players also that play collegiate. You just talked about Cam Norrie, and so we shall see.
I hope. But again, the more tennis gets exposed, the better it is for the sport.
Exactly. So, I'm still hoping though. Ams Jabeur, she's an important tennis player because Africa is we're still waiting on those champions to come. That country they play tennis there. They have a lot of. They come to this country, and so now we're waiting to see. We've had a few breakthrough back in the day, but not many to get into the upper levels. And so she's an important figure for who she will inspire to pick up that racket and maybe promote programs there that will develop more. I think she and her husband are involved in that now, and I think that's outstanding, and hopefully that will happen more. So talk about India earlier. We didn't even talk about Africa. That's a whole nother podcast.
That is.
But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, again, that about wraps it up. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. And again, hit us up on social media and on all of those Instagrams. And again, if you like us on YouTube, hit subscribe, and hopefully we will see you again.
And please send us if you have any topic ideas or things that you would like for us to discuss, or please let us know.
Yes,
please let us know.
Definitely. Again, as we always say, go out and hit a tennis ball.
Go out and hit that ball. All right, take care. All right, Ruffin.